Welcome to the Gatekeepers Podcast with Billy Grove, where the fence world gets real, raw, and unfiltered. Billy's not just an industry leader, he's a hands-on pro who knows what it takes to build quality fences and strong teams. So grab a cold one, settle in, and get ready for straight talk about the trade. Today's show is brought to you by Mr. Fence Academy, National Metal Industries, J.C. Gurry Signs and Decals, and Orlando Hinge Company. If you're looking to hit the next level in your fence company, check out Mr. Fence Academy. Real fencers, real job sites, real training equals real results. And now, live from the Mr. Fence Academy studios, here's your host, Billy Grove.
What is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing in the fence world? We're back from Vegas. I hope everybody's made it back safe, had a fun trip. We got a great show lined up for you. We got Miss Veronica Richardson, formerly of SWi, or used to be with SWi. I just found that out as well. So we got her on the show. We're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and thank the sponsors who make this show happen week in and week out. First and foremost, I don't have the sign up because it keeps falling on me. But Mr. Fence Academy, guys, if you're looking to up the level of your fence company, whether it be the business side or the installation side, go check out Mr. Fence Academy at www.mrfenceacademy.com. National Metal Industries, guys, if you're still looking for privacy slats for chain link, I see that question asked a lot. Go check out NMI Fence at National Metal Industries at www.nmifence.com. Man, I just tripped all over my tongue just there. You guys are still looking for fence signs, go hit up JC Gurry over at www.jcgurry.com. All the fence signs are made right here in America, come with Mylar lamination, so that way they still look good 10 years down the road. Last but not least, we have Orlando Hinge Company. If you're still struggling with one side of your double gate swinging uphill with nasty gaps or ugly cuts at the bottom, go check out the Swan Hinge at www.swanhinge.com. They do absolutely work every single time. I've used them, used a lot of them. Got another one coming up here soon. So with that said, man, it's been a fun week, man. Chris and Josh and Nick all have been out of town in Vegas. They started trickling back in Friday. Chris will be back here tomorrow. So it's been kind of fun. Not because they were gone, but just you know, a little bit different, a little bit of a like change of pace. But they're back, all in the office. Happy to see Chris and all that. Yesterday was a hell of a dig. Hands were almost bleeding, but there's that. So you guys drop a comment down below if you're watching. And yes, Susan, my hair does grow back. I still do have a little bit of hair, but you see what I'm talking about right there? That's why I shave it. That's the exact reason why I shave it. But let's not get caught up in that too much. We'll get to some more comments here shortly. Let me go ahead and bring my guest on the stage.
Hello.
How we doing?
We're good.
Good. Awesome. So Veronica, you just made it back from Vegas as well, right?
I did. I actually just got home Saturday afternoon.
Nice. How was it?
Amazing. You know, that team throws on one hell of a show, and the feeling and the morale and the fence fam, as so many of us refer to them, all showed up, and it was great. And it's be able to share your passion and speak the same language with others in your industry. There's nothing like it.
Right. Yeah. I was sad I had to miss it, but it is what it is. Still got some fence in the ground while everybody was gone. Brian says, how many podcasts is she on today? Were you on the like Women of FWA podcast too?
I was.
There we go. So for those of us watching and listening who are not quite familiar with who you are, will you give us a quick rundown of who Veronica Richardson is?
Also known as the warning label out there. I'm the one with the potty mouth that shoots it pretty straight.
Good to go.
I came from a construction background. I was born into it. I before SWI, I was a project manager for a mechanical company handling HVAC and plumbing on multi-million-dollar projects. So I came from that background, and I really just stumbled into the fence industry and fell in love with it. I just really decided that's where my heart was and that's where my passion was. And here we are.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. So, you worked for SWI for, I think I have it
8
in 8
years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 years. And, along that 8 years, you did a lot lot in the fence industry outside of, or
I did.
out of just, like SWI. So, kind of where was that like
You know,
big,
in the
big light
industry,
bulb of like, bam,
yeah.
I want to do something outside of what I'm getting paid to do?
Well, I'll tell you, I have to give credit to Josh Glover.
Yeah.
Josh Glover is really the one that really pushed me. We have kind of a funny story. The first time I met Josh, 24 hours later, one of his team members talked to another one of our team members in a way that was unacceptable. And I walked in and I was pretty much like, F you, thanks for the opportunity, we're out. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, yeah, if your team talks to each other that way, like, that's on you. We're going to be gone. And he's like, no, sit down and talk to me. So we sat down and talked about it. And he assured me that's definitely not the way, that his team works or, behavior that he condones. And I was like, okay, kind of lip service. I want to see what you're going to do about it. And he definitely followed through on that. But the very next day, he says, come on outside with me. I want to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And at the time, the operation management school, he's lead chair on that. And it was starting to kick off. And he's like, I can't think of anybody else better to go through this journey with me and to help put together this content and this curriculum. And would you be interested? And I was kind of like, I just told you to go F yourself.
Right.
How does that even work? And he's like, but that's exactly it. He's like, there's no lip service. It's straight to the point, open dialogue and open conversations. And it just really sparked from there. And he had to, push me kicking and screaming a little bit. Mark and Alan were obviously very, very, very supportive of that time. It was really challenging to be able to put down what you know and what you do every single day into a book,
Right.
And to write it down. It's way harder than what you think.
Yeah.
And at the time, Tony Thornton was still with AFA, and there was several conversations with Tony's. And maybe you guys need to find somebody else.
Right.
Maybe it's, I just really think that there's more qualified people out there. And they both encouraged me and said no. And it really, really, really sparked for me that first class. And we had 7 women in the very first operation management class that I was a part of. And to be able to go through our policies and procedures and how things work and why they work and the nitty gritty, it really sparked a fire.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes. And I know what you mean when you're talking about doing it versus putting it all down on pen and paper. You tend to skip steps, and because
yes,
you're just so used to doing it, it has become like muscle memory. And so it's
like breathing.
Yeah.
How do you explain how to breathe?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to writing it down, I found that I've had to do like 8, 9 rough drafts. I'll get them done and I'll be like, man, this is perfect. Reading it, and I'm like, nope, I forgot a step.
Yeah. And you're just like, that's not it. It took Josh Glover and I 18 months.
Yeah.
And that was a matter of, I would fly out to Florida every 2 months and we would lock ourselves in the conference room for 2 days straight. And that didn't count what we were doing at home that we would take and apply and kind of manipulate, because you have to take all of these and really teach them at like a 10,000 foot elevation. You can't get down into the nitty gritty of it. You've got to touch base on all of it. And we all know, even talking about setting posts, you could talk about that forever.
Yep.
So imagine taking an entire operation from setting up your office and your environment and your company culture to down to the nitty gritty of policies and procedures. It was quite a challenge, and it is probably one of the most proud things that I have under my belt, especially in this industry.
Very warranted too. Very warranted to be proud of that. That is something. That's something right there. So what what time frame was that year wise?
So Josh called me in 2020.
2020.
And I think 22 was the first class, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So you had ample time to get ready for that first class then.
I don't care how prepared you are.
Yeah.
Your nerves when you walk in there, and here you are, you're talking to industry professionals. You're talking to people that if you try to blow smoke and bullshit them, they know.
Yeah.
Not that that's who I am and not that I blow smoke, but it's still very much that you've got to be on your A game and you've got to know what you're talking about. And to think of yourself in that position, to think that, these people are really here to learn from you, it's very humbling.
And it is very hard to accept, is it not? Like
it still is. I give Josh all the credit for the OMS usually. I'm like, oh yeah, I help with that. And yeah, I was a part of that because it's something to be proud of. But if it wasn't for Josh.
Yeah. And like, it's kind of the same thing for me too. I mean, my guys mess with me daily about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, you're Billy Grove. And I'm like, bro, you know me. I am a beach bum fisherman. Don't try to blow my head up over here.
Right.
So like, I get that, but then I also get the like conversation from Chris, and he's like, fucking accept it. I was like, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. You know what I mean? Like you get like both sides of it. So I find it hard to find a middle ground most of the time.
It is. And I was very much with being okay with being the voice on the phone and the person behind the keyboard.
Yeah.
And Mark's encouragement to keep pushing, and that team, the Women of FWA, we always have the same conversations. I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So it is hard to accept.
And you guys are pushing that thing forward, man. It's come a long ways in the very short time that it's been out.
Man. So I'll tell you, Susan approached me. Susan and Brian, I'd never met them before. We were at the kickoff party for Fence Tech in Oklahoma. And all of a sudden, here comes Brian, above the crowd with his black cowboy hat. And then all of a sudden, there's Susan right next to him. And, there's a few drinks had. We were having a good time. And they came up and they approached me and said, we're starting, FWA. And what do you think about starting a ladies group? And I'm like, you're out of your rabbit ass mind. I want nothing to do with that. I don't. I just continually had been disappointed on things. And I thought that we were really missing the boat on taking care of women in the industry as a whole. And so, there's a couple more drinks, and I kept telling him, like, I don't want to be a part of this, but let me tell you what women need, because I felt like that, on a deserted island all by myself. Yes, I had our team and I had my guys, but it's different. And I knew what was missing. So of course, by the end of the night, there was some persuading, and Susan says, just do this with me. And I'm like, we'll see how it goes. We'll give it a run. And if I get bored or if I don't agree with what's going on, and Brian's like, well, what's it really going to take? And I said, just don't tell me no. And Brian goes, okay. I'm like, it's really that easy.
Right.
So with Brian's support, I mean, he constantly, and the spouse support and other women in the industry, it really has. And we're doing things different.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. There was talk about it the other day. I can't remember who I was talking to, but they had been in another trade as well. And they were like, man, you really see the difference whenever you go to the Facebook groups. He's like, I can't remember what trade he was in. He was like, it was either HVAC or electrical. He's like, all you see on there is just pictures and memes and just bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, true. And he's like, but you go to the fence pages and there's that, but there's a whole lot of people trying to teach people. And I'm like, you're 100% right. I don't know, because I've never been in another trade industry group on Facebook. like other than fencing.
That is so true. So coming from an HVAC and a plumbing trade, and then I grew up in the excavation world. I grew up running heavy equipment, from the time I was really, really little. So it is different and it's fun. And one of the things that I love about this industry is that you ask a question and you get 10 different answers. But like I've said a million times, point A and point Z in this industry is exactly the same. I don't care who you are, what your operation is, where you're located, how many teams you have. I don't care. A and Z is the same. Now there's a bazillion ways to get there.
Right.
And a lot of it, you have to take a little bit from everybody and really make it meld to what works for you. And don't be afraid to come up with something new.
Yes, absolutely, man. I say that at all of the trainings that I run. I'm like, look, guys, I just want you to know that I'm running a set thing of process and procedures here. If this doesn't work for your group, if every little piece doesn't work, just take what works and leave what doesn't. Right?
Absolutely. And change it and adapt it. And who knows, you might be on a live one day, or you might be one of these training classrooms and you might be the one teaching something that worked better for your team.
Absolutely.
And I always learn so much more. I always feel so selfish when I leave these fence shows or I was done teaching the OMS class, because I always felt like I filled my cup way more than I poured out in that moment, because I was learning so much. And there were so many times that I would come back and then sit down and review how we were doing things. Like, wait a minute.
Right.
Let's tweak this a little bit, because we do become complacent. It becomes a habit. It becomes memory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that's one of the best things I love about whether it's in the field training, in the classroom training, or just an event, is the fact that you're able to, even as an instructor, you learn something every single time just by talking to people after hours, or, at the bar or around the fire, wherever you're at, and you're still in that head zone and you guys are swapping ideas. And man, I'll tell you what, I have shown a 50-year professional something, and I've had a guy in the field for 2 years show me something, and I'm like, well, I'll be damned, that worked.
Absolutely. And then you're like, how did that work?
Yeah.
And why didn't I think of that? Like, why was this not a thing? And absolutely. And that just really, you have to be open to it. One of the things about this industry is you get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
And if you open yourself up to those conversations, and you open yourself up to those situations, and you open yourself up to the networking, this entire industry will rally behind you and help you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they don't gain a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, there's consultants out there that will come in and, help you on different levels and different things, but social media is also such a huge platform in our industry that there's always people giving advice or tips or tricks or, programs to use or software that they found or, ways to save money. And there's nothing they're gaining from it. It's just the passion for the industry.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I love that as well. I remember whenever I was first starting out, not having no business on some job sites, and I would message Victor Vasquez and just be honest and just be like, hey, man, I sold this and I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you please help me out? And, you would be surprised the amount of people who let their pride get in the way and just won't do that. And I'm like, man, I don't give a shit, man. If I don't know how to do something, I'm going to figure it out, whether it be by admitting it and asking for help or going to YouTube University.
Absolutely. And it's, sometimes it's an ego thing. And sometimes it's a matter that you have to humble yourself. But if you're walking around with the ego and you refuse to admit those things, you're really doing yourself no service. Right. And you're doing your team a disjustice by not being open and finding better ways to do it. And let's face it, policies and procedures and efficient ways to do things increase profit.
Yeah.
So why would you not?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you said like policies and like procedures. When you first got to SWI, was that your role, like immediate out the door, or did you work your way into that?
No, so I was actually hired to answer the phone.
Okay.
I was hired strictly to pick up the phone, make sure there was phone calls, schedule appointments for Alan, kind of help him. At the time, there was an office manager that worked for SWi that handled everything by herself. And she just really, I personally feel like she just didn't want to be bothered with me. She had read my resume, but Alan, when he first read my resume, he's like, "Is this for real?" And I'm like, "No, I just lied." And I'm like, "Yes, that's for real." And he's like, "Wait a minute. Like, you just said that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so it took some persuasion, and it took some time. I mean, she had me reading the OSHA manual, not to update the safety manual. Okay. Not to do any updates. I wasn't allowed to touch that. But she had me reading the OSHA manual for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And it was miserable. I hated it. I almost left. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, this is not, what I'm about. And then we had a team come in one day and they were asking a question to Alan, and I chimed in and answered. And they all went, "Who are you?"
Right.
Like, what? How do you even know that? And then, conversations started happening and Mark got aware, and Mark's like, "So what are you doing all day?" I'm like, "Reading the OSHA manual." He's like, "Oh, to update our safety handbook." And I'm like, "No, I'm not allowed to touch that." And he's like, "What?" And so then there was, some transitional period where then I, started having direct contact with the crews and started scheduling and checking job packets and making sure they were prepared. And I really came in with a different mindset. I never had the mindset that any of the team worked for me.
Right.
I worked for them. It was my job every single day to make their life just a little bit easier in the field. What was something that, yes, it might take additional time for me, or yes, it might take additional work or, finesse, but what's going to help them? And so it just really kind of started pushing, and the office manager had resigned. Shoot, I think it was like 2 or 3 months later. And Mark called me on a Sunday. And at the time he was still very involved in the church. And I will never forget this. This is like one of those key memories that you have.
Right.
It was a Sunday morning and it was like 9 o'clock, and he calls and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Shit, I'm at the bar. I'm like 3 Bloody Marys deep. Shouldn't you be in church?" And he's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "No, Mark, I'm sitting on my bed having coffee. What's up?"
Right.
And he's like, "Well, we have to have a serious talk." And I was like, "Okay." And he told me what had happened. I said, "I'm game. What do you have for me?" And whatever I can do to help this team. And I believe in everything that you guys have. I believe in this culture. I believe in the brand. And what can we do? And so he said, "All right, let's go." And for several years, it was just me in the office. And then in time, we brought on, more people. Stephanie's there, Alan's wife, and we've got Sarah up in Cody. And then Jenna came on as, accounts receivable, and Dawn came on as accounts payable. And we just really just started building this team, and really watching it is super rewarding.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Like, it sounds like you really, really enjoyed your your time at SWi after
I did.
hearing all of this. So that's awesome. Mark's an awesome guy. He
Hey,
cracks me up.
don't tell him that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
He cracks me up, man. He had me on the edge of my seat for his speech during the Mr. Fence Academy retreat this past year. I'll tell you that much. That was good. That was a good one. I liked that a lot. But awesome family. I've met Alan as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, awesome. We're gonna get into some of these comments because they are stacking up. I did not know I let them go that far. All right, so Brian says, "Let's go." This was towards the beginning of the show.
Kayla.
Ready. And then we got the
There's my Women of FWA crew.
Hey y'all. Hey Susan. And then
Can you just hear her voice in your ear when you read it from her? Because I can.
Absolutely, I do every single time. Mr. Mike Levy's in the house, National Metal Industry.
Hello.
Susan says, "I love it." Brian again with how many podcasts is she on? There we go. We're on to some new stuff. Susan says, "I'm Veronica's hero."
That's a self-appointed title from Susan.
That's funny. And then we got Andrea Patterson in the house. There we go. And then she says, "You go, V." Susan
my
says,
girl.
"There's a Billy Grove fan club over here." and then she ghosted me. I had to stalk her on Facebook.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did. I will tell you that after that kickoff party, I totally just was like, meh, and was like, not a big deal. Like, they'll find somebody else. And she did not give up.
Yeah.
She was emailing me on my work emails. She finally, I don't know how she got my cell number. She must have bribed somebody with something really good. And she just wouldn't let me.
Yeah. It was I was really excited to be the Demo Days main ambassador last year, me and Colby, and that kind of got our like relationship kicking. And whenever she was like, we're doing it again this year, I was like, she's like, "You gonna help?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I'm gonna help. I cannot wait to help." So
we've got some info on that. I might just like let it out of the bag a little bit on this live, because with all the recent changes in my life, I might have access to that.
Yeah, you do. From what I've seen, on Facebook, you do have access to that. So
I do.
There's still that cat in the bag. If anybody watching doesn't know what the cat is,
if you've been living under a rock for the past, I'd say 5 days now.
Yeah.
It came out late Friday night.
It did. And if anybody doesn't know, I might get the acronym wrong. World Fence Association.
World Fence Federation.
World Fence Federation. I knew I was going to mess it up. But you are now the new executive director of the World Fence Federation. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I would imagine you're going to be dealing with China and Japan and all of that. So
absolutely. And I'm super excited about it. We had a gentleman, Toby, that's involved in the Federation with us. He was actually out at the fence show, and we were sitting around Friday night after the announcement came out, which, by the way, I was surprised about the announcement. Again, I was like, "Are you guys sure? There's like so many more qualified people out there." And Brian's like, "I've been headhunting you for a while. You just didn't know it." And it's, ha 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 ha. But talking to Toby, one of the things that we asked him, tell us something big and something small that you're just absolutely blown away by, that, we do things in the States. And he said the whole manufacturer distributing situation that we have going on in the US and wholesalers, he goes, "It's kind of a mess." And I was like, okay, all right. And then we were talking about, I'm like, "Okay, tell us installation wise." I'm super curious, like, bring out the inner operations of me. Like, I want some nitty gritty. And top rail is not a thing. It's all tension wire, top and bottom.
Yep.
And then there's no high tensile wire. They hand pull their wire and get it as tight as they possibly can, because they can't use tools, because it'll just mess it up. There's no give to it. They said it's still the same diameter of wire, but you can't pull it.
Where's this at now?
In the UK. So I think he's actually in London area.
Because I know every single country over there in each of their continents has extreme different ways of installing fence. I do know that much.
And how cool is that?
Yeah.
We have veterans or people that have been doing this, and, you hear 9 gauge and you hear 11 gauge and you hear, all the same, doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, to sit down with somebody in another country that's been in this industry longer than I have and come out with something like that, I was like, I want to see that. Like, I want to come out and, be a part of that and take a look at that and, like, help bring this back to the US, that, we do some pretty amazing things here. But we, again, if the industry is open to learning and the industry is open to receiving all of this, like, let's bring it together. Let's bring it together on a world level.
Well, like, that's kind of on the same track as the open call-in session for the Trade Industry podcast, when I can't remember his name. I'm sorry if you're watching. I'm sure you're not. But the concrete post guy with like the little smaller concrete post that like flexes.
Yes.
When I really got to talking to him, I was like, "Man, so like, how big is that?" He was like, "Every single fence in the UK is installed like this." And I was like, really? He said every single residential fence uses this over there. I was like, that's crazy to me to think that like we're that far apart. Like we're installing the same fence to say, but
It's
the
so
method,
different.
it's so much different.
And this goes so way beyond the big argument between, you know, dry pack and wet set.
God,
I mean,
that's
this
not
is
even a thing.
yeah, that's child's play compared to the differences in what
Mhm.
they're doing. And then, you know, we've had conversations, Sasha, which is another VP on the board with us, is, you know, he comes from a totally different world too. And
Mhm.
he's bringing totally different things to the table and new things to look at, new things to do. It's just, I'm loving it. I'm soaking it up. I've officially been a part of the team now 2 days. But I'll tell you, I'm absolutely pumped.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're gonna hit a commercial break real fast. I'm sorry, I got my mouse on the wrong setting, so it's super slow. We'll be back in 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
National Metal Industries, a family-owned business for 70-plus years, has grown to be recognized for their ability to deliver on not just privacy slats for fence, but all types of fence products. National Metal Industries has all the hardware and tools to get the fence professional in and out of their job with the most ease possible. You can count on National Metal Industries for the most convenient resources in fence products. Visit nmifence.com for more information. As we like to say, you can always pick it right at National. J.C. Gurry Signs and Decals has been a trusted name in the sign industry since 1949, with all manufacturing done in-house from start to finish right here in the USA. With 75 years in outdoor signage and roots dating back to the 1920s, J.C. Gurry specializes in durable, high-quality signs and decals. In-house screen printing since the 1970s ensures every product meets the highest standards. Visit jcgurry.com for more information. Every aluminum sign includes Mylar lamination at no extra cost, extending product life in tough outdoor conditions. For unmatched quality and longevity, visit jcgurry.com. Struggling with a gate that drags on your sloped yard? Orlando Hinge Company has the solution, the Swan Hinge. Unlike standard hinges, the Swan Hinge lets double drive gates swing open smoothly up inclines, eliminating dragging and binding. Easy to install on vinyl, aluminum, wood, and chain link gates. It's built for durability and made to withstand the elements. And when your customer hears that, yes, their gates can work on a slope, you just made the sale. The Swan Hinge, designed by fencers for fencers. Made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Order today at swanhinge.com or email info@orlandohingecompany.com. The Swan Hinge, because every gate deserves to open smoothly.
All right, guys, we're back. And real quick, guys, if you are looking for a company, consultant, whatever you want to call it, if you want to up the level of your fence company, go check out Mr. Fence Academy at www.mrfenceacademy.com. Man, I love those commercials. Every single time I watch them, I'm like, shit, man, I made that.
You're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. We're going to get into a couple more of the comments, get those cleared out of the way, and then we'll get right back into it.
Okay.
Miss Yadira Fredrickson said, we missed you at the show. I know. But you know what? I was upset that I didn't get to go, but after all the messages of where you at, I was like, all right, cool. That's all right. I'm good with that. I'll take that. So I think on the Tuesday, the day before, when a lot of the vendors were setting up, I was getting all the text messages. Where you at? And like by the fourth one, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I missed. Look, everybody noticed I'm not there.
I'm all good. I'm all good. So that was fun, but yeah, no, I'm sorry I had to miss it, but you know, gotta actually take care of business here. So there's
So
that.
overrated.
I know, right? OSHA manual,
Yeah.
private property, no, state.
Yeah. It's oh man.
Property. All right, Miss Mary Conda Cobb is here. She says hi there.
That's one of my BFFs. I love Miss Mary.
Oh, they're great.
She's another one that has had my back and encouraged me with all the transitions, saying, "Hey, you know, let's do this." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and she has definitely been through some like trends. They've been around for quite a while, doing a lot of shows. From what I've found out, having them on the show, they've been in the like trade show business for quite a while,
Forever, and they're so fun.
Yes,
you
they really
cannot
are.
go wrong with the JC Gurry team. They are just an absolute blast to hang out with, whether if you're at the booth or you're down on the floor or you know you're in one of the breakout sessions or the education sessions. They're just genuine, down-to-earth, good people.
Yes, they are. Absolutely, absolutely good people. I've had great conversations with both Mark and Mary, and love those two to death. Love those two.
Yeah.
Mary also says, "You play piano?" I get that question every time someone uses this background. I swear to God, it's freaking hilarious. Orlando Hinge Company. Hair's getting long, Billy Grove. I know.
Oh,
Trust me,
wow.
it's
Usually everybody talks about my hair. I might be feeling a little left out at this moment.
it's a thing because I normally wear hats, but all my hats have nasty sweat rings on them right now. So
it's
I've
that time of year.
chosen to not wear hats the past couple weeks. And about I don't know, 6-7 months ago, I made the choice to finally just shave my head because, as you see, that's not. I don't like that.
We're going to blame that on the headphones though, right? That's just from doing this podcast, and your commitment to the industry is like literally it's wearing off your hair.
Absolutely. That is exactly why. See, look, I'll just move my headphones forward.
See?
But yeah, no, so I finally came to terms with it and shaved my head. And I forgot that people that I don't work with every day are watching this show, and I'm not used to seeing that. So I took my hat off that day because it was more comfortable, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're bald."
What in the world?
So that's a little backstory behind that one.
I love it.
There we go. James Wallace, and that is your new husband, correct?
That is my new husband. That is my number one biggest cheerleader and supporter with all the changes going on in life.
Yes, he is, man. Did he show you the message he sent me Tuesday?
After he sent it.
You know what? I'm going to be completely candid and completely honest. I was literally, I got off live and I'm like, all right, I got to find like a guest for next week. And I'm like scrolling through Facebook. I'm like looking. And then my phone goes off and it's like, ding. And it's this sales message basically. And I was like, huh. And I replied back. I was like, hey man, I don't know if you're a salesman, but you definitely sold me on this. If Veronica is available next Tuesday, we can do it.
Yeah. He sent it and like he just hands me his phone and I was like, you're messaging Billy Grove? I'm like, you don't even know who Billy Grove is. Like, what? And he's like, read the message. We were actually at the JC Gurry 75th anniversary party. And I was like, why are you hoeing me out? Like, he's like, because you won't. And I'm like, I'm just going to hire you as PR at this point. Like you can just handle all of that for me.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, he sold you good. And I was like, bro, I'm sold. I was like, if she's available next Tuesday, let's do it.
And then he tells me, he's like, I don't care what's on your schedule next Tuesday. And I said, well, I have a Women of FWA live. And he's like, well, you're going to be on with Billy after that. And I'm like, okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ecstatic to be here.
Yeah, hell yeah. But we got JC Gurry signs and decals in the house, of course. They say, we love you guys. Love you too. Yes, I do need some more hats. Please and thank you. Those were highly loved. Those were fought over by the men in my household, which is me, my oldest son, and my youngest son. So yes, we do love those hats.
Well, and you know, you might have a connection now as a thank you to maybe get some World Fence Federation stuff going on.
There we go. Let's do it. I am completely down with that. And Miss Yadira says, I love James.
Yeah. Well, that's because I was going to them being like, do you know what he just did? Like, he just totally pimped me out. And they're like, good. And I'm like, no, you guys are supposed to be on my team.
Right. Well, hey, you're here. We're getting you some extra like exposure. We're getting the World Fence Federation some extra like exposure. So there's that. That's what you guys need to get rolling.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about that for a second, outside of what the installation practices are like across the world. What is so, like, if I'm being blunt,
Absolutely.
what is the Fence Federation aimed to do?
Exactly that. Look at the industry that we have in the US and
Right.
look at the fence fam that we have in the US. And there are people, millions of people across the world that are sharing the same passion. Why would we not bring everybody together and have the same resources and be able to share and exchange knowledge and really build a network and have an arsenal on a much bigger scale?
Right.
And us be able to support that, us be able to encourage it. It was a couple years ago, Women of FWA was featured in a magazine that was actually published in 8 different countries in like 4 different languages.
I remember that.
Being able to talk to the gentleman Rembrandt that did the article with us and sat down with us, it was so interesting of how blown away he was about the fence industry in the US. And especially, here's this group of women that can sit down and talk to you about centers and talk to you about installation processes and talk to you about material and talk to you about HR and talk to you about all these different things. And he's like, what? He's like, this isn't a thing. He's like, plus, the guy across the street from me that's my competitor, no, you just don't talk about it. And here you guys go. And I'm like, oh, well, that really sparked the international bug for me. And the news about the World Fence Federation was just released and just rolled out at the Fence Show. And I had like maybe this much information 2 weeks prior to that. I wasn't told a whole lot. And then all of a sudden I was at the show and the series of events that had happened with us leaving SWI, and Brian was just like, hey, get down here. And he's like, it'll be good for you to come see everybody. It'll be good for you to be around the fence fam. It'll be good. And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, nope, you're flying out Monday. And I was like, okay. And then of course, James was like, absolutely, we're going. You need to be around, the girls and all the guys and, really see the impact that you can make. And so I said, okay, let's go. And at that point is really when I found out about the World Fence Federation.
Right. Well, man, that's kind of like dropping a bomb on you, huh?
Yes. My life, we got married September 13th. We went on our honeymoon. We came back. SWI and I parted ways, obviously on great terms. Mark and Tanya and I were crying on the showroom floor the first time that I had seen them since everything had happened. James and I were both with SWI and, now exploring other avenues and other things. And so then I was like, I actually took a weekend trip to go talk to another organization and a neighboring state to ours. That had been very interested in me helping them and setting some stuff up for them and getting them rolling. And so James said, come on, we're going to go. And we're halfway there. And Brian and Susan call and say, you're coming to Vegas. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I haven't even had time to process everything or think everything through and for the news to really hit me. So we came home Sunday evening and Monday morning, James and I were on a flight to Vegas. And Friday evening is when I sat down and had the conversation with Brian and Yadira and Susan, and they said, we would absolutely love to have you on our team. And we couldn't imagine anybody else taking this adventure with us and tackling this head on. And I was completely honored.
That's awesome. So we are coming up on showtime here, like very shortly. So, where do you see after the first year the World Fence Federation being? So, first year goals.
Really some awareness.
Okay.
And some resources. You know, Brian's getting ready to actually take off to London if scheduling, like I said, everything's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I'd be going with him and being able to, he's going to a trade show in London. And then right after that, he's getting ready to do one in Australia. And being able to go out and see these shows and improve the fence show and bring some new content, bring some new resources, and bring some new things to the ball game. Let's, you know, it's really hard after how many, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years has fencing been around to bring something new to the ball game.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So being able to bring that, as well as to bring them here.
Very true.
And share our passion and share our drive and share how we do things and be able to sit in that room across from other industry professionals that are outside of the US and fill your cup up at the same time you're filling theirs.
Right. Very
That's
true.
what it's about.
I love that. That's awesome. All right. All right. Well, you got any closing thoughts for everybody watching and listening?
Thank you. Step out. You guys keep pushing. Everybody, you know, keep sharing what you're doing and your passion. If you're a woman in this industry, you're not a part of Women of FWA. We are something so different than what's out there in the industry. I mean, our hashtag is "You Can Sit With Us." We know what it's like to, you know, work with family and feel like you're the only woman in there, and your other friends and family have no idea what you're talking about or why you can geek out on fence for an hour. Right. This is your group of people. And, you know, all of us are very different, but at the same time, our passion and our sense of humor, well, besides Susan, is all the same.
I like that. I like that. Throwing that in there in the last minute. Well, besides Susan.
I gotta.
There we go. All right. Well, where can everybody find you in the next coming months?
So absolutely, you can email me, Veronica at worldfence.org. Obviously on Facebook, Instagram, any of the World Fence pages. Also through FWA, you can find me. You can find me on TikTok. Good luck trying to figure me out if y'all find my personal TikTok. I'm just going to say that because you guys think you know and you really have no clue.
There we go.
I'm definitely around. Reach out. I am all for having conversations and getting to know more and more people and be able to share all of the information and knowledge and experience I have.
I love it. I love it. Well, Veronica, thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and talk fence for about an hour. Very much appreciated. Looking forward to being into contact with you soon. You have a wonderful night, and thank you again for coming on.
Hey, thanks, you too. And don't forget, we're expecting you at demo days in April.
Oh yeah, trust me, I'll be there. I will be there. Trust me. As soon as I take you off the screen, that's what I was planning on talking about. So there's that. Thank you again. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right, guys. I very much enjoyed that. I hope all y'all watching and listening very much enjoyed it as well. We have another great show lined up for you. Next week, we got Mr. Sean King on. We had a great announcement. We're bringing back demo days. It's going to be in South Bend, Indiana this year, and it's going to be in April. So it might be a little bit warmer this time around. But guys, I'm telling you, you're going to want to be there. We're going to have fence games and nothing like what was at the shows, even the AFA shows. This is going to be insane. I'm not going to drop any more of the details. You'll have to be here next week for that. But man, great show. Looking forward to a great show next week. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Go kick some ass, put some fence in the ground, be safe overall. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday.